beta alanine, the research, there's newer research coming out, but it's all kind of echoing a lot of the same stuff. But I think we're just reinforcing how.
So what is beta alanine?
So beta alanine is a precursor or a building block along with histidine for what is called carnosine. Okay, carnosine, very important compound in the body. But when you're looking at performance, we've all been in a situation when you are, well, maybe we haven't all been there, but you're exhausting a muscle and you get
all the listeners have better been there. You guys have better be there.
You get the burn, right? Like, okay, if you do a bunch of squats in a high repetition range, you get that burn, right? So what happens there is it's not lactic acid or lactate that's accumulating to cause that burn. Lactate does accumulate, but lactate accumulates as a means to give you sort of a second wind of energy, of essentially glucose metabolism, because it converts back into pyruvate and through there. That's great. It acts as a signaling device. We'll talk a little bit about lactate in a minute. But it's not the lactate that causes the burn. It's an indirect effect of lactate that causes an influx of hydrogen ions to create a very acidic environment in your muscle. And that's what creates the burn. And the only way that we know of that buffers that is usually by increasing carnosine. But you're going to run out of beta alanine, you're going to run out of carnosine, you're going to run out of histidine, these things that make it up. So eventually you're going to, and when I say run out, in that moment. So that burn is going to supersede your ability to kind of neutralize that burn. Beta alanine allows carnosine to build up much faster and allows you to buffer those hydrogen ions and buffer that burn a lot more.
By buffer, you mean you're not limited by kind of that burning nature. How much time do you think it provides you?
It's a good question. I actually don't know specifically, but I can speak from my own experience that I start to notice it degrades after about 90 minutes. I stop getting the effect after about 90 minutes.
But you notice an impact?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
Like huge, monumental. So much so, I mentioned this to you off record, so much so that I abstained from taking it for a long time because I thought that the burn was actually something good that I needed and if I was pausing the burn, then I was pausing the signaling effects of lactate. And again, that'll all make sense, I guess, if we talk more about lactate, which we can in a second. It's that effective. Whereas like when I take beta alanine, like my time to exhaustion in like a, 12 to 20 repetition range is significantly better. And that's what's interesting. If you look at the beta alanine research, it's like, it really helped in like the ballpark of like 60 to 250 seconds. So
60 to 250 seconds.
And if you think about that second range, all I think about in the 60 to 250 second range is running the 800 meters in high school and how much I fucking hated it. And like how it was the worst possible race you could ever have someone do, because it's just, you hurt the whole time. It's in that range where you're not quite sprinting, but you're not, in beta oxidation. You're just in anaerobic.
You're in a world of hurt.
It just sucks. And it's all just that lactate threshold and being how much can you handle?
Yeah.
Like really. And I'm just like, man, I should have used that stuff in high school because that's exactly the range that it's talking about. So for like someone that does like a CrossFit Metcon or like those style of workouts like I do, it is such a secret sauce. And like you can take quite a bit of it. Like people usually take like 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams, 3 to 5 grams. Like I've taken 10 and you get super tingly.
What is the recommended, what would you say the literature would support in terms of how much?
1 to 3 grams.
1 to 3 grams. Is it dependent on size?
That's a good question. That I don't know, but I can again speak from experience that I'm much more sensitive to it now at 180 pounds than I was when I was 220. So I feel like I can get by with a lot less now.
Okay. Anything else about beta alanine?
I mean, just to put it into context.
I'm going to actually get some.
Yeah,
now,
no, I think it's going to make a big resurgence probably as a result of this. Like I've been shouting it from the rooftops for the last couple of weeks just because I'm like, we got to great guy to have on your podcast would be Dr. Tim Ziegenfuss. He's like,
get him on.
Yeah,
Did you hear that, Kylie?
Yeah, he's a good dude and I can make the connection.
Thanks.
And time trial rowing. So they looked at 2,000 meter rowers. Okay. Now again, 2,000 meter row is in the same category as like an 800 meter run. Just terrible puke fest. Just
not fun.
And they improved their times with, I can't remember, I think it was 2 grams. And they dosed them. In the case of beta alanine, they were giving them for a number of days before, but they ended up improving their times 13 to 14%. So 6.4 seconds specifically on this study, which is huge. Like that is not a small amount. That's that's like shaving 6 or 7 seconds off of your 800 meter time. It's like, that doesn't just happen like by chance. And like everyone across the board had big improvements.
And this is because it's buffering the hydrogen ions.